Hey everyone, it looks like we are live. We made it to another Wednesday. I hope everyone is having a good week. Thank you so much for hanging out. So today we are going to be adding color to our painting, which is really fantastic. And we have Color Graphics Roy from New Jersey. How are you, sir? Great to see you. And we have Dan from Indianapolis. How's it going? Great to see you. So I'm so glad you all are here. This is going to be a big day because, well, God willing, it'll be a big day because we'll be using our favorites, the Lifeline colors. Let me get there we go. The Lifeline colors, which are by our favorite company, Createx. And that's excited. Mr. Bobby, how's it going all the way from Cape Cod? So glad you are here. That is so fantastic. So we got some great artists here already. Patty, how's it going? I'm loving your miniatures. All the way from Illinois. How are you today? I am so glad you're here. So thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate you. So that is wild. So we have some great people. So we've been, Mark, how's it going? Great to see you. Mark, all the way from Calgary. How are you today? So glad you're here. We have Michael McGlung hailing out of Maryland. How's it going? How's everything today, sir? Glad to see you. Mark, how's that longshoreman thing going? Did they go on strike? Because I know in your area, there's a lot of longshoremen in the Baltimore area, some really important ports. So hopefully that has been resolved. So glad Mark's doing good. We have some really great people here today. So I just want to say thank you so much for hanging with us. So that is fantastic. And so very, very cool. And so let's go ahead and pull out our painting here. And let's see. Here we go. So remember last week, right? Those who were watching this series for the first time, last week I went ahead and shellacked it. Notice how nice and clear it is. But you can also notice that it is covered in shellac. So it's impervious, right? So I could basically, you know, do as many layers as I want as this. It's not going to warp the paper because it's impervious. It's an ancient technique going back to the 1500s, even further, using this shellac. I can also put oils on this. I could clear coat this and you wouldn't have any trouble with that. So you can see how it looks, you know. It's a little bit stiffer. It has more, how do I say, it just has more it's more substance, right? So that is really great, and so very cool. Now we are going to have a lot of fun. Hey, Mr. Gregory, how's it going, my friend? I sent you the invite for the first class. Hopefully you have that. It will be 8:30 my time, 7:30 your time. If you need to change that, you let me know, sir. Great to see you, Mr. Gregory. So glad you're here, my friend. So Mr. Gregory, right now out of Texas, the great state of Texas. So that is amazing. So what a great group we have here today already. Just a whole bunch of just talented artists. And how you doing, Mr. Gary from the Hershey area? How are you, my friend? Great to see you. How's everything? How's Kyle feeling? And did Kyle come home yet? I know you were mentioning that he'll be coming home soon. So, you know, my thoughts and prayers always go out to you and your family, Gary. And thanks so much for taking time out of your busy Wednesday. I should have your frame painting to you very shortly. And let's see. Oh, so Colette, how you doing all the way from Wisconsin, now hailing out of Georgia? Great to see you. And Dave says it was a day. Glad to be here. Oh, long day, huh, Dave? I know how that goes. After today, I will absolutely be ready at 7:30. Yes, we're gonna do some great artwork, and Mr. Dave is part of my mentorship program, so I'm really excited to be working with him. And so that is fantastic. So we have everything all set and ready to go. We're going to be working in the Airbrush India inks, which is always fun. And so Colette, how are you today? So glad you're here. And I have my power aid, and this has electrolytes, and it's orange. So that's going to be good. You know, this is very taxing work. So we're going into the color. We're not going to use the color wheel for the skin because we are using the Lifeline colors. I really recommend the Lifeline colors. It's really important. So definitely do that. Oh, Gary says Kyle's in rehab. He's progressing well. 4 to 6 weeks of rehab, but all going in the right direction. That is so great. That is the best news ever, Gary. So wonderful. So thank you so much for the update. Like I said, you know, he's a young guy. He's going to bounce back a lot faster than an old guy like me. So that is really amazing. So uh, he'll be 100% before we know, which is fantastic. And Mr. Raoul, such a great artist out of New Jersey. He just did this Marilyn Monroe, just incredible. Just really nicely done, Raoul. Thank you for sharing that. That is so amazing. And okay, so now let's look at our reference here. Let's get rid of me. We don't need to see me. And that's always a relief. We don't need to see my messy table either. So let's get out of there. Let's, there we go. Okay. Nope, messy table again. Okay, now we don't have me. So that's good. We don't see me. All right, so I'm going to take out all my Lifeline colors here. And they're great because they're by Createx. They're on the illustration line. You can use them with the Wicked line. You can use them with the candies. And so right there is just amazing, the versatility that you have with these, you know. So here are the ones. You can see there's quite a number of them. But they're all different. It's like different makeup, you know. And so it's like painting with makeup, which is really amazing. Over and under painting like this is really going to be amazing. So that's really looking forward to it. And oh, so Bobby says he got a notification. Oh, cool. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, that was a fun live stream. So thank you for having that, Mr. Michael. I appreciate that on Saturday. Coffee with Mike, I think it was, right, sir? And let's see. Is that all of them? Okay. So we're going to put these over here. And so the Lifeline colors are like $70. You get all the colors, all the shades that you may need. You have red skin tones, yellow skin tones, dark skin tones, which is really amazing. So like here's like the lightest color would be the light natural, and it may be a little bit on the light side, but that's okay. You're going to work from light to dark anyway, right? And then, so how it works is you have the regular natural, which is slightly darker, and I may go with that. And then you have, this is great. This is a blush, so like in the cheeks and the nose where there's more blood in the face. So light natural. No, this is blush. And then here we have the espresso. We have light espresso, and we have, oh, here's deep blush, fair blush. So you have all the blushes, all the red, pinkish, you know. Very cool, Colette. Colette says she's doing great. That's amazing. And then we have the yellowish colors. We have light olive gold. We have olive gold. We have espresso, which is a little bit darker. So you can see where we're going with this. I'm going to look for some of the other ones that right now seem to elude me. We are going to be using the 4011 reducer, I think, today. And let's see, there's a couple of colors that I don't see, but they're probably over here. Okay, here's one. This is Deep Espresso. That's a nice dark, but it's not as dark as I like to go with my values. So that's good. There's a couple of others. And remember, if you can't find it, it's behind something or it's right next to something that's the same color. Okay, so now I'm going to get these cups. Right here, these cups are great. They're 1 ounce. You don't want to get the 2 ounce. It's too much air, right? 1 ounce is really perfect, I think. So we're going to go with the 1 ounce. And I don't know if I want to go with the light natural. It's really light. It's almost like too light, but yeah, we can start with the light natural. Why not, right? Let's do that. So we'll take our cup, and we don't want to destroy our artwork, so we'll just remove our angel over here. And okay, so now, oh great, class information received, perfect, very cool. So I'm looking forward to that, sir. Thank you, Dave. And let's see here. So I like to coat the bottom of these 1 ounce, right? And then we could put water, we can put 4011, and depending on my mood. So right now I'm going to go with 4011. I'm just in the mood. Okay, so now I'm going to get my plastic palette knife. I like using a plastic palette knife as opposed to those sticks. So just go ahead and mix that 1 to 1, right? You don't want it much thinner than 1 to 1. That's usually a good idea. So we're going to do this light espresso, right? Because we can always go darker, but it's a heck of a harder time going lighter, isn't it, everybody? So here goes nothing. I do have some detail mixture in here, so I'm going to empty out my airbrush, which wasn't that much in there to begin with. Just a show of hands, how many people here have the Lifeline colors? Just to see who has it. And the second question, who's planning on getting it, right? Createx is such a wonderful company. I really like them. I think they do great things. So I always like pushing their products only because they're so amazing. And the great customer service. Mr. JC, how are you today? Great to see you, my friend. So glad you're here. All right, so every time working on my airbrush, it's always doing that, you know, park it with water kind of thing. And so far, it's been working well, everybody. So we're going to take this. It's super light. It's almost not even going to register. And we're going to take our water. We're going to put our water aside. And now I'm going to take my cap. And so we have to test this airbrush, right? So we're not going to, even though I worked on it earlier today, still got to test it. Beautiful. No coughing, no spitting, no drips, no runs, no errors. That was an old paint commercial with Johnny Bench, I think, back when I was a kid. JC says, hello, are you washing your paint? Yes, I'm washing it with soap and water. Great to see you, sir. And I'm going to take a swig of my Powerade because of the electrolytes. That's good. Nothing like electrolytes. Mr. Ryan, how you going, sir? How's it going? all the way from Canada. Great to see you. And let's go get our angel. Okay, so we have our angel. And what we're going to do is we don't want to make more work for ourselves. So when we do the face, we're going to have this stencil made. The stencil I made. So let's see. And so we want basically the face only, right? So I think we have it right here. So that's good. And we'll put her over here. And let's see. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be great. This is going to help us out a lot. We're just going to work on her face right now. And let's see. Very cool. Everyone greeting in one another. That's what I like. A great community where, we're all here to inspire one another and have a good time, because day-to-day life could be quite uninspiring. Let's see. I don't worry so much about the hair, but the contours, right? The contours is what really worries me. So I got to make sure that's correct. I'm going to put these magnets close to the edge. There he is, Mr. Leahy. How are you, sir? How did that George Washington on the quarter come out? So I'm really interested to hear that. Dwayne Marshall, how's it going? San Luis de Obispo. Go Mustangs, not banana slugs. Great to see you. Great to see Mr. Steve Leahy, originally from Massachusetts, hailing out of Ohio. Great to see you. And so that is excellent. And let's see. We're just going to take our sweet time, because that's what we're about. All right, now, here we go. We're going to take our... So distance is everything, right? Everything is distance. So I'm going to be approximately 6 inches away, and that sort of stuff. And it's all done. You added some Dinnerstein green. How cool. Yeah, he does have this very interesting green. It was like a green earth that he used to use. So green earth was on his palette, and it was on my palette. And he also used Davies gray. So those two colors, if you want to reproduce that, Davies gray and green earth. So that was two big colors with Harvey. He wasn't big on the other greens like Viridian and emerald green or anything like that, Yeah, it's so cool. So that is neat. I miss Harvey every day. So here I am, 6 inches away, and I'm just going to spray lightly. Now I'm not going in like a cowboy and I'm going to go over the eyes or anything like that. And I'm just going to watch what I'm doing. I'm going to overlap, right? But I'm not going to go in with this light color into my darkest darks. That would be counterproductive, because then you're going to have some sort of reaction, some sort of cool color reaction, and you don't want that. So the best defense is not to be there in the first place. So we'll just not do that. Yeah, so that is great. I really love the way you were working on George Washington. It was really fun to see and different. And if you're interested, it's Steve Leahy's Monday Night Live Stream on Facebook. And he gives away a painting every week. And if you haven't tried his website yet, and his, not his website, but his live stream on Mondays on Facebook, you're missing out, because I've learned so much from that over the years. I don't think I missed many of his Monday night live streams in the last 3 years. I don't think so. Mr. Michael McClung, thank you so much, my friend, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the encouragement. That means so much to me, and it's so exciting, and thank you for your friendship. And right now we're using the illustration colors, the Lifeline, but we are definitely going to be using some of the Wicked. So we have Mr. Steve helping out, and also Mr. Dwayne. Both are just Wicked gurus, and I appreciate your support, my friend. Saint Luis de Obispo, never forget that. See, it really looks like nothing is happening. So what I'm learning is, Mr. Brad, how's it going from all the way from Manitoba, Canada? So great to see you. How's it going, my friend? How are you feeling? So what I like doing is kind of compressing those values, right? The value compression. You know, not going for the darkest dark, not going for the lightest light, but going in maybe value 3 to 7, getting rid of 8 and 9 and 1 and 2. Okay, and why do that? Because it forces me to really kind of make better blends, right? It forces me to be much more careful about making all these forms turn. It's really important to turn those forms. I just can't express it enough how important it is. Like I said, not much going on here. Now I do have my orange and white mixture where I'll be using later with this. Okay, so feeling good about that. So we're going to stick with this. I'm going to blow some air on here, and then we're going to come in with a slightly darker one, you know. Oh, back is better after the chiropractor. That's good news. Thank God. The Extreme Patriot Arrow originally is for inks, and then when I started, you know, going into color using the illustration and the Wicked, it was like this stuff, this airbrush is just as good for these, like, you know, thicker paints. So it's really a nice surprise. So you can see I only use the Extreme Patriot Arrow. That's customized by myself in the Extreme Patriot 105. The best workhorses on the market, in my humble opinion. So, okay, so I still have that light color. Let me see if I can bring in the reference so you all seeing what I'm going through, what I'm doing. So let's see. So we're going to go here, and we are going to get an image, and we're going to look for that image of our angel. There she is. Okay, so this is who I'm painting, right? So you all can see, you know, what my motive operandi is, or whatever that's called. I was gonna move away, but I'm gonna stay here because I'm gonna use this color, the light natural. It's very, very light. Probably the lightest color that you're gonna see on her, except for the highlights. So remember, we're doing that compression, right? So this would probably be value 3. So we're going to use that over here. I'm going to establish the light first. We can always go darker, right? Darker is easy. Going lighter is more difficult in Airbrush. You know what? It's funny, when we work in oils, it's the opposite, you know? It's a lot easier to go lighter, because with oils, as you go lighter, you want to go thicker, use more oil, and, you know, just get a more buttery feel, and it covers the darker colors quite easily. But in Airbrush, not so much. And let me make sure. So right here along her shoulder, we have that. Now when I'm doing detail here, I'm probably more like 2.5 to 3 inches away, guys and girls. And so now we have right here sternocleidomastoid, right? So that is the sternocleidomastoid. We have to know what we're painting. If we don't, we're going to miss the essence of what's happening, of why is this so tight, and why is this sternocleidomastoid on the left side so tight and the right side is so loose. Why is that? Those are things we need to know. And let's see, Michael says we need you and Steve doing live stuff on YouTube. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, Michael. And let's see. And Michael says, today, Brad, he finally got to see his doctor. He has tendonitis in his wrist, the hand that he paints with. Oh man, so that's not easy. But I know you'll paint no matter what, because you're that kind of guy. And you know, there are braces and stuff I think you could use. Am I correct? What's really nice is the India ink is allowing me to go over with this lighter light espresso without too much blue shift. I'm feeling if I did a gray in acrylic, it would not be as would not be as lucky, you know. Yes, I hope you feel better soon, my friend, as Patty had mentioned. And there we go. All right, so I think we're okay. I'm just going to maybe, before I go with this color, I'm just going to reiterate. Now I can come lighter, but that comes later, right? So that's cool. And Ryan says he needs to see my doctor. He paints pretty good. Oh, thank you, sir. Well, you paint amazing yourself, Ryan, so that's really cool. So yes, so that sternocleidomastoid was so important. The clavicle, a chromium process, you know, the Dre elements that make up the nose, the nasal bone, the upper lateral cartilage, and the alar cartilage. Those are things that are going to help us. The glabellum, the orbital eminences, the frontal bones, all these different things. The frontal bone with these eminences up here. You know, all these things are so important and crucial to give you that edge, right? There's a lot of competition out there. So when I think of competition when I played sports, I always tried to work on things that I could work on to take away the edge of opponents, right? And I'm not saying that artists are opponents, but you know, you want to be on a level playing field. So anatomy definitely will level that playing field. Ah, thanks. Steve says to hit the like button. I appreciate that. And Ryan says he hears that, Ryan. He needs all the help he can get. You're doing great. And, you know, we just got to make sure we do our best and that's it, you know, and leave the rest to God. And I really feel that applies to art, you know. So, what do we do next? I would say there's a yellow shift, right? So we have her flesh color, yet there's a yellow shift, you know, and we can actually get a jump on that yellow shift by using this light olive gold. And so it's a light color, but it has just these little olive hints here. And we can use them in the midtones where it is a yellow shift. You'll find the yellow shift is more in areas where it's closer to the bone, right? The chin, the forehead, the zygomatic bone, or the cheekbones. It's going to be more of a yellow shift, right? And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking to not just paint the values, but we have to also, within those values, it might have the same value, but in that same value we'll have a red shift and a yellow shift. And that's what gives your paintings real form. And it just shows understanding of the subject that we're painting, which is the human body, the human face. So here we are for those following. It's 5016 Light Out of Gold from the Createx Tim Gore's Bloodline, but this is the Lifeline set. I believe it's around $76. And that's a good deal. And you'll get a lot of paintings out of that. So good investment. You know, you don't want to be looking for the perfect skin tone if they're already mixed for you, right? That's what I'm saying. So I'm going to do our 4011 again. And we're just going to do a 1-to-1. And so I'm going to clean out my airbrush. And I got some water here. And make sure we don't spray that. I have a cat here, so making sure I spray that into a gallon of milk. Now these colors are very close. When you're going from light color to light color, light color to darker color, you don't have to be as crazy because the dark color is going to dominate, right? So we have that going for us right now. I have the Extreme Patriot 105 all ready to go, but you know, I don't need to go there just yet. So here we are, light olive gold. See how it has a little bit of a yellow shift? Now, I don't want to go as dark, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a half and half of the light espresso. Look at me, I'm a mad scientist here. And then we're going to do the light olive gold. And then we can come in with the olive gold later. So you see it's closer to what we already have down there, right? We don't want to go in with a cowboy. Remember, compression of value. So we're working in this value range, so we have to make sure that we use the very close values to make things turn, which is very, very important, you know? And so I'm glad you're over the cold. That's fantastic. So Michael says the picture looks amazing, your copy, and I know your work is going to look the same. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Always appreciate the vote of confidence. And let's see. Yeah, I love that angel. She's so beautiful. Just drew me to her. Okay. All right. So we have this light olive gold, and we don't want to just spray arbitrarily. We really want to think. Now, I am probably about 3 inches away. And I'm starting to feel the forms turn. And I want it to be very transparent. So the further I'm away, the wider the spray and the more transparent this color is going to look. So even though we're working in opaques, we still can get some transparent-like effects. And you got time, no rush, right? And you're going to overlap into your darker colors because you don't want color, color, color. You want it to be one form. So you're going to overlap. But it's better to overlap a lighter color over a darker color. No, it's better to, yeah, you definitely can overlap a lighter color and a darker color. Not exactly the best because you can have a blue shift. But remember, we're in the beginning here and we're doing very light application. But also, it's not the best idea to do light over dark. So I do retract part of that statement. But right now it's India ink and it's so light, we can get away with a lot more. See, forehead, less blood, more yellow. So that's where this deep olive gold is coming in. And very good. Who's on first? Home plate. Catcher. Let's see. Love Abbott and Costello. Those guys are the greatest. So I lived in Paterson, New Jersey for years, and that's where Lou Costello lived. And they have a statue in a small park that, of Lou Costello, which is wild. And see, right here, it's not yellow, right underneath the eye. So I'm going to wait until I get the fair blush for that. So you want to be like a chess player. You want to be thinking ahead, right? Think ahead, think slow. You'll get there. And so down here on the chin, we have a little bit of a yellow, golden color. Plenty of time to get dark. There's no rush. And it may look a little blotchy at first, but that's the way it always looks in the beginning. So give yourself a break and don't be too hard on yourself. And Michael says those wings look to add to any portrait of a person. If you need a background, that's true. He's got to make sure they're angels. Okay, so we have this light gold, and remember it's gold with the light natural. So let's come down here and put it on both sides of that light color we put in earlier. So as I go to a larger area, it's just logical that I'm going to be a little further away, right? So maybe 6 inches away, because further away, the lighter the spray, the more even it is, right? So that's our thing. And you can see I went a little too close there. But every painting is a learning experience. Every painting is a chance to get better. And look at it that way. And that's why I look forward to painting every day, because it's a chance for me to get better. How the painting comes out is not as important as getting better. Offering more to the art world. Well, I don't really care about the art world, but to the world in general. The world needs beauty. And that's what we do, right? We create beauty in the sometimes ugly world. Everything's super light, kind of crazy light right now, and it's more intense on this side of the face, so I'm going to get a little more opaque on the dark side of the face. And we'll work up here. Okay, just building this up. Now I may come in with that blush color, right? So I'm going to break out my Extreme 105 here. Let's see. It looks like there might have been paint in here. That's very rare that it happened, but we'll see if we pay the price. So, that's true. Charles Manson, I don't think so. Good point, sir. Let's see. So remember we have the blush colors. We have the deep blush. We have a fair blush. And then we have a regular blush. Let's go with regular blush. I think the light blush is not good. So you see how it has a little bit of a red shift? And we're going to put that like in a malar cartilage here, maybe on her nose, maybe dust her lips. Just kind of get into, remember, those color shifts, right? We wanna be aware of them from the very early going. And so we're gonna put this. We're gonna get our cup here. I'm gonna shake it a little bit more. I don't use this color too often. Says even the Pope. Okay. So remember, we're just gonna coat 4011 1-to-1. I use water, but I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling the 4011 today. Don't know why. Sometimes you got to go with the feeling. Okay, now let's see. Colette says she would like to see that. You guys are funny. All right, we're going to test this out. Here goes nothing, but I'm not going to test it out on the artwork. Extreme Patriot 105, which I think had some wet paint in it. So let's see. No, so far no adverse side effects. Here goes nothing, everybody. So let's start on this cheek of the malar cartilage right here. Ooh, there was some wet paint over here, so it's always going to be something in your painting that's going to be a pain, right? So let's go ahead and kind of come in with this orange color here, this blush color. The trick is, don't get emotional about anything that's happening on your painting. It's probably going to go away as you paint, so don't worry about fixing it. Patty, have a great night. Thank you so much. Don't work too hard. It's always a pleasure to see you. I'm so glad you're here. And so we're looking at this blush color, right? Which is this kind of pinkish, a little bit darker. And we're just going to add this where there's more blood. So, you know, it's a very, so this is, for those following, 5023 Lifeline Blush. And, whoop, it almost fell, but the cap's on, so everything's good. And so we're looking for that kind of blush color. And her lips are a nice blush color. So I'm not going to put it in the lighter colors, the lighter color. But I am going to put it in the darker area of the lip. Okay, so that's good. That worked out. And so that is great. Everybody wishing a great weekend and night to Patty, which is fantastic. Okay, so here it's a little bit of a warm shift. So I'm going to hit that. A little bit of pink above the eye. And a pink shift over here. So I've worked in pastels, I've worked in oils a lot longer than I worked in airbrush. I'm working in airbrush for about 14 years now. But a lot longer, and I'm not going to say how long because then I feel old. But a lot longer I've been working on the other mediums. And so a lot of stuff I do, I take from other mediums. Like right now, I'm kind of dusting this color because I know when I come in with the other color, they're going to integrate and kind of mix on the palette, which is going to be great. We have the glabella here, right? So we want to go a little bit darker. So in between those who paint skulls from the side, you notice that you have the frontal bone, and then there's an indentation, and then the nasal bones come out. And otherwise, we'd look like parrots. So we have this indentation there. So it's important to establish that in the early going. And if you know anatomy, you're looking for it off the bat, right? So that's important. So we have this kind of rosy color. So I see a little bit on her arm over here. Just slight here. And you see there's a little bit of weirdness here. It's early, so you don't worry about that at this point. Eventually you do worry about stuff like that, but not at this point. So a little bit here on her breast. A lot of blood there. It's less bony areas. You're going to have more of a red area. Tendons could go either way, I think. Ooh, right under her eyes, right? It has that pinkish shift. So let's see if we can do this here. Right under the eyes. So make sure that you look at your reference. The 1 second rule is you have to look exactly where you're painting for a second, and then you paint for a second. That's just the interval, right? So if I want to paint for 2 seconds, I'm going to look at this area on my reference, and then I'm going to attack. But I'm not going to attack without looking at that reference first. It's you don't want to go in blind. You got to aim, right? So you have to know what you're aiming at. So if you don't do that, you're destined to fail, and that's not good. Set yourself up for success by really looking at your reference. Just very slowly building up this flesh color, and that's what we're doing. Mr. Leahy says, jumping off the computer and swapping to the tablet. Very cool. The tablet you can relax, right? And be in the living room and stuff. So now what we're going to do, a little bit dark here. Like I said, we're not worrying about that. It's so inconsequential in the big scheme of things. As everything is painted, it's just going to kind of fall into place. So compression, right? So we want to go darker, but we don't want to go too dark. So remember we had our mixture of the natural and the light olive. Let's see if we can come in with a dark olive, right? That's going to be pretty cool. So here's light olive gold. We don't want that. Let's see. So that's a great thing about this. We have just straight olive gold, and we're looking for deep olive gold. Here we go. Deep olive gold. So we can kind of shift over to that. Let's do that. We are going to use this color, this airbrush for that. So we're going to dump out this. What's the worst that could happen is you get a little bit of the blush color into our deep olive gold, right? Not a bad thing. So that's really good. So you see there's some stuff in my airbrush, so we want to get rid of it. And so what do you think would happen if I did, you know, used Gatorade as my medium? The painting would have a lot of electrolytes, but very cool. Oh, so here Michael says the next thing he needs to get is a good camera instead of using his phone. Yes, I really recommend getting yourself a Logitech, one of their high definition webcams. That's a good camera to start with, inexpensive, and get split cam. Split cam's amazing. You can zoom in, so you can use your webcam and still have a zoom with the program. I was working with Bobby in a class, and he showed me that and showed me the next, what was it? It was the next generation or version of it, and now I could zoom, which is great. So split cam is really good. It's free, it's easy. You can go on different streams. So let me show you. So here's the USB. If I want to zoom in, I don't need a zoom. You can zoom with the program, which is really amazing. So highly recommend it. If you need help getting it, installing it, I'm your guy, Michael. So all right, so now this is clean. My Extreme Patriot 105. We're going to wipe this, and we're going to make some deep olive gold, okay? And this is going to be the dark. Brad, thank you for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And it's always great working with you, and I really appreciate your support and encouragement and love the work that you're doing in class, just kicking butt. Deep olive gold, number is 5018. So you see how I'm going up? So we're going to shake that really well. So this is fantastic. Let's remember, I'm just coating the bottom of the 1 ounce cups. Now I'm going to get my 4011, 1:1, maybe a little bit more, and which is great. We have, remember, the plastic. You get these, you go to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, get yourself a set of plastic palette knives, and you're good to go. Going to mix this really well. Notice I'm not in a hurry to go dark, right? I'm just going to slowly build this up. I might be a little tentative, but, you know, it's okay. You don't got to be a cowboy all the time. And here we go. This here, 1:1 with 4011. Never test your airbrush and the paint on your artwork. I'm checking to make sure that paint's not coming out when I'm not pulling back. 2 little daggers, baby daggers, little L's, dots, dashes. We're good, so everything is good. Now, remember compression, right? The compression is that your values are making things turn with not using as many values, you know? Ah, fantastic. Dave, you're going to love split cam. It is fantastic. And as you say, Dave, free is your best price, right, sir? Michael says, Tim, I want to thank you and Steve for joining me on YouTube over the weekend. No, thank you. That was such a good time. I really enjoyed watching your painting. It was really fantastic. And I love seeing different different ways of working. So thank you for that. So now I'm going to slowly go darker. We're going to start with the frontal bone of the head. Then we're going to come down here. So I'm making this nose turn, right? That's very important. Yes, Dave, free. That's it. And we're just making this turn super slow, right? Let's see if I can zoom in, if that helps. You guys be like, Tim, that's not helping. Let's see. There we go. Okay. See how super light I am? I'm ridiculously light. And maybe I could darken it up just a tad. Okay, so here goes. I'm about 2.5 inches away. So remember, your airbrush is just a tool. You're painting with pigments, right? So you're going to just make sure you don't go too dark too early. Just as if you were painting with oils or acrylic or watercolor. You know, you want to build things up slowly. You don't want to, you know, push the envelope too much in the beginning. You want to be able to adjust. So that's why you're working light to dark, because of the adjustment, right? It's easier to adjust. It's so much easier to adjust something that's light than trying to adjust something that's dark. And that's why I'm further away at times. I may be 6 inches away when I wanted to have, you know, a really nice fade here. So this olive gold is coming out very rich kind of red, so I'm kind of surprised about that. But that's okay, you adjust. But you can see how we're building, right? We're building slowly. Let's take this off. I want to see what I have, right? Before I go down a primrose path, thinking everything is lovely. and it may not be. That is a nice contour. Not bad, right, everybody? Not bad at all. And so let's continue down that road. Always be a little bit pessimistic on whether or not it's, everything is happening the way you want it, Be a little bit pessimistic. Always double, triple check, You're like, wait a second, something's wrong. And it might not be wrong, but at least you double checked. Paranoia comes from experience. It's not paranoia if you're right. That's very true. Make sure you don't get your magnets on your artwork without, that would be bad, because if you're like me, your magnets are dirty and it's going to cause a problem that's going to probably haunt you for the rest of the painting. So be careful of that. I'm going to come back in with my orange mixture, white mixture, to kind of smooth things out much later in the painting. Now we're going to come in and we're going to work on her eyes, which is going to be great. I'm going to dust very lightly over everything here. And why am I doing that? To get a unification, right? A unification of values and stuff, And Mr. Bobby says, Dave, you're going to like the split cam, easy to use and a lot of features. Yes, so true. And I like just when I'm working on... Gary, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate you and your friendship and hanging out. Thank you so much. The encouragement really helps the channel and gives me a boost. And, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support and friendship, sir. Thank you so much. That really makes a big difference. So, I'm always so touched when everyone shows up and hangs out, because I look forward to it a lot. And then getting support on top of that is just like out of this world, Gary. So thank you for that, and thank you for the encouragement. Brad says, Tim, walnut alkyd medium or just walnut medium? Just a walnut medium. So this is an oil painting question, guys. Brad's in my class. This is walnut oil, and it's by M. Graham. And so why, just a quick thing, but this might help those who also oil paint. So why walnut oil and not walnut alkyd medium? The reason I go with walnut oil with oil paints is that it slows down the drying time and it keeps it open, so I'm able to mix a lot and your paints don't dry. The walnut alkyd medium does the opposite. Walnut slows down the drying of oil paints, but alkyd speeds it up. So you might as well just go with linseed oil at that point. So regular walnut oil. You could use, this is probably the best brand, M. Graham, but another brand in an art store will be just fine. So that's cool. So that's neat. So very good. Now we're going to continue onto her clothes here. So let's zoom back out. Okay, not her clothes, but her body. And thanks again, Gary. I really appreciate you, sir. And that split cam on the phone also. Oh, you have split cam on the phone. Wow, I didn't know that existed. Thank you, sir. So there's a mobile version. So now you see we're making things turn. We're making her shoulder down to her arm turn, right? And we want to make this sternocleidomastoid turn, right? It's a three-dimensional form. Even though it's flat in the picture, we can do something to kind of make it more three-dimensional, Mark, off the bed. Oh, have a great night. Thank you so much for hanging out, my friend. If you have any questions during the week, feel free to email me. And And I hope life is great out there in Calgary. One day I gotta go visit my Calgary friends. You guys are all amazing. It must be an amazing country with all the amazing people I'm meeting. So now I'm taking this color, the deep olive gold, and I'm kind of going to try and hit my darks with this. And again, it's not the darkest dark, but that's all about compressing the values, right? See, we're just turning that form. And you see, just little by little, it looks like we're doing nothing. But when we remove this, we're going to be like, oh, we did do something. So this side's going to be light. This side we're going to deepen some of these darks here. Now, one of the things I see in work, especially when we're doing portraits, is that, you know, things aren't turning slow enough. I see a lot of times right here, it would be a hard edge. And that would make her look like she's kind of like Jack Palance, you know, from Ripley's Believe It or Not, you know, like just these really harsh lines. But she's very graceful. Her maxilla turns slow into the the cheekbone. So to actually do that, you're going to have soft gradations and you're going to compress those values and slowly turn it. If you don't, you'll make it look too harsh. So always make sure that you are keeping that in mind. You know, what is it you're painting? Who is it you're painting? You know, you want to make sure you keep everything soft, right? So so important. So we're going to make sure that we keep that in mind as we're working. So right now, I'm actually going to keep this compressed. I'm not going to go any darker with this. But what I can do is maybe start coming in with the hair and see how that goes. So we're going to lift this up. And so if I went too dark too soon, I think it would cause a problem. In oils, I might go really crazy in one area and go all the way, but I think this is a nice start and kind of slow it up a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. And let's see. Now, let's come over here and we are going to look for the hair only stencil. Now, I did work with Yupo paper for the first time, which is very interesting, and I really liked it. Me and Roy in class, we worked on that, and we had a good time. We were surprised just how easily everything was erasing. You know, you're like, oh, what's going on here? So I can see how working that way opens up a lot of possibilities and ease of use, more user-friendly than what we do, you know. But yeah, so, you know, you always want to keep yourself open to different techniques, you know. And Bobby said, oh, Mr. Steve's back. So yes, playing around, Mr. Leahy, with the Yupo paper. Now you put Autoborn sealer on that, right, Mr. Steve? How do you like working without the Autoborn sealer? Right now we're working without it. Do you find it difficult? Do you work without it sometimes, or you only work with the Autoborn sealer? So, if you don't mind me asking that question, sir. Okay, we're going to hair only. And again, what am I working at? I want to make sure I don't screw up the contour. If that happens, that's a lot of work. We don't want that, right? So, let's see. And I'm going to put it on autofocus for a second so it focuses. Okay, so now it's focused. I'll go back to manual. All right. So now I know it's not my fault if it's out of focus. Okay. See how I'm looking for that contour, right? Especially here with this dark. You know, there's not much wiggle room for error here. little things that, you know, happened to you in the past that kind of change you forever. And that's kind of what's going on now. Don't have volume. Something on my end. Be right back. Oh man, volume's important. So I have these little ones. I use the little needles, the little uh, magnets because they don't cast a shadow. And now with our hair, I'm going to start with the lighter color. And I'm going to be using maybe Wicked paints with this. We'll see. Oh, cool. Definitely. So, Steve, I was asking, I'm using Yupo paper for the first time, but I didn't use any waterborne sealer. Do you use it without the waterborne sealer, sir? Because, I mean, do you think it's suitable without the waterborne sealer? I'm sure a lot of artists right now would love to hear that from you. If you can, sir. Sorry to put you on the spot. All right, so I want to mix the lighter color, right? I don't want to mix the darker color and try and lighten it up. This isn't Yupo paper. This is something that we have to be a little more conscientious. There's no scratching or erasing here. If there is, there's very little. So you kind of got how to play a little bit, you know, a little bit more, you know, pragmatic with this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try and mix my light color. So the light color is going to be like right here with this kind of light brownish color right here. So I'm going to mix that color. I could do it in my head. I've been painting enough or long enough that I can do it in my head, but I'm gonna just kind of share with you my thinking, if you call it that. Tone, how's it going all the way from New York? How are you, sir? Great to see you. Oh, look at that. Just pencil and paint. Look at that. Tone, that's so cool. Use it raw. And Steve says hasn't tried it without the sealer, but it made to just take the paint. So I'm curious on so that's interesting. So I'm doing an experiment with Roy. We're going to see how it goes. And definitely, and also I love that you use it, Tone. So all right, so I am going to I'm gonna go ahead and try and get that mixture. I'm gonna isolate that color. So, and that's part of my Gideon paint method, you know, my color mixing method, the Gideon method, which I love. And so okay, so loving this technique of mixing color. So I isolate, so you always want to isolate that color because of simultaneous contrast. You don't want to just trust your eyes, right? So you can do simultaneous color mixing. I'm going to isolate that color. So now I know what my main color is. Now I got to find the elements. And let's see here. And okay. All right, so I know what I have to do, what I have to mix. So let me go ahead and mix this. So the main color of her hair, believe it or not, is orange. That's the hue. So just a little bit of so now I'm going to go with detail orange. And then we're going to use the other elements to get that color. All right, now We're definitely going to be using 4011 for this, my friends. So again, I'm going to coat that bottom, but I'm going to count the, so I'm going to count, so when I coat the bottom, it's around 20 drops. So think of it that way. If you're coating the bottom of a 1 ounce, it's 20 drops. And now I'm going to get my other element. And let's see. Okay. Just got to find that color. Here we go. So actually there's going to be the opposite. So the other color is going to be most of the color, and then it's going to be just a little bit of that orange. With my color theory, I'm able to get the percentage, which is really helpful. And now I'm going to get the 4011, and we'll mix that. So this bottle is spent. Let me see if I can get the other bottle of 4011. It's somewhere lurking about. Let's see. Probably in this drawer. Let me go do that. Yes. Okay, we are set with 4011. And again, I'm going to do a 1-to-1. And then we'll mix this. So I have my target color, and I can always see if I need more. And so my Gideon painting or color mixing method is not going to be like, oh, you're going to mix it perfectly. No, it's going to give you the ingredients, and that's what's important, right? The ingredients. You're not going in the wrong direction. So that's the important part. And I'm just comparing it to my target color. So I'm almost there. A little more of the hue. So a little bit more, almost there. A little more of this detail orange. You wouldn't think detail orange was such an important part of this color, but it is. And I'm comparing it to my target color. And you see it's kind of this kind of muddy brown color, but it's very orange. And I'm liking it. So I think I'm there. And is it thin enough? Maybe we can use a little bit more of the 4011. Especially with the Wicked colors, I like it on the thin side. Thin side the better, right? So that's important. Okay, happy with it. So now I'm going to take my airbrush, and remember this was the light olive, the olive gold, and the natural. So let's dump this out. Okay, get our rag here. And that's just, you know, airbrushing takes a lot of concentration because there's a lot of interruptions, right? Lots of interruptions going on with, you know, changing out the colors, sometimes getting rid of tip dry, all that other stuff. So you have to like stay in the game, which is so important. And that's where the Gideon paint method comes in, because you're not going off into this, you know, you're not adding green and say, oh, I shouldn't add green. Then it's over. You go down that wrong route, it's going to be so long for you to get back. So here we go. Here's our light here. And we are going to put our top on. And let's test this out, right? So we're going to test this out here. So you see how that's very close to that light. So the method works. You get better and better at it. And so I'll be coming out. I already began with the making of the course, so I'm excited to share it. Let's see here. I'm going to go back to, I can see the comments. Let's see what I missed. Gary, take care. Have a great night. Sorry I missed you. I missed you saying good night. Take care. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Mr. Dave, sorry I didn't see your super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. I was too busy mixing that color, so thank you so much. I appreciate you. Your support and friendship mean everything to me. Thank you so much, Gary. Have a great night. It's always fantastic to see you. And once again, Gary and Mr. Dave and Brad, thank you for the super chats, my friend. I really appreciate it. So Bobby says, Timmeroy, what medium are you using on the Yupo? We are using the illustration colors. So we're working in illustration grays, so that's going to be interesting. However, we're doing the underpainting with the Airbrush India inks, which is really good. Ryan, have a great night. Take care, my friend. Thank you so much for the compliment and the encouragement. I really appreciate you. Steve, is there a different mediums? The booklet he has says heavy, which is 9 by 12. Interesting question. I know there's a different versions of the Yupo, that's for sure. So now we have this mixture in the airbrush, and you can see it looks kind of dark, but once we come in with the dark of her hair, that's going to lighten up. So you want to put your light colors in first. That's always important. Now, if I want a lighter version of this, maybe I could do that, right? So I'm going to take this color and I'm going to mix it with a lighter color. So let's go ahead and we're going to mix it with our natural, light natural. Do something interesting. So I used all my cups already. That's why you want to get the 500, because they're going to go really fast. So that's important. Tone says, how does the ink work with the Yupo paper? Fantastic question. So at first when we used the ink on Yupo paper, it was like Spider City, right? But then we lowered the air pressure on the pack valve and we increased our distance. And then what we did is we did one layer and let it dry. Did a second layer, let it dry. Hitting and moving, right? Don't stay in one area, you're going to get spidering. So you have to work against that spidering. But it is doable, definitely. So that may be the next live stream that we do, working on Yupo. So the next live stream project. So I'm going to take some of this color, which is the light of the hair, remain, and remember, yeah, orange was the main hue, so I'm sure you find that interesting. So it's okay for us to mix illustration and illustration colors with the Wicked, but we're going to add just the tiniest bit of 40-50, right? So let's see how this goes. Where is my palette knife? Have you guys seen my palette? Oh, here it is. Yeah, that looks right, doesn't it? A lot lighter. I like it. I like it, I like it. Remember, you can always go darker, but going lighter is going to be a son of a gun. So let's empty this out. And we're going to come in with... So it's funny, when I'm working during the day in oils, and then at night I work in airbrush, it's like speaking two languages, you know? Like when I speak to my Spanish friends, and then I go and speak to my friends who speak English, and it's kind of like that. You're saying the same thing, but in a whole different way. Uh, so Steve says he uses heavy with his 145 pound. Okay, cool. And JC says then you put it in the microwave and it's good to go. Becomes waterproof. Interesting. And Tone says I use a 144 pound as well. So great information, guys. Okay, so I wanted the lighter color, right? So remember, at the edge. This is more blue, so I'm going to stay away from this. But where it's kind of that chestnut light color in her hair, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So it's good to have this lighter color in here, and then I could kind of sculpt a darker color in her hair. I may not use it, I may just go ahead and simplify it, but at least I have that option in the early going. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with white. Now I may have some blue shift here. If I was using Yupo, I just erase that and it's easy city. But this way is a little bit more of a classical approach, so we're not using too much erasing. Bobby says that would be interesting, JC, considering it's Yupo polypropylene. Tone says he doesn't own a microwave. That's a good thing. All right, so we have that. Let me get a piece of paper here to save my metal panel. Not that it doesn't look disgusting already, but let's not go overboard with it. Okay, so here we have a piece of paper. There we go. Put all of these on this side. So, do we go ahead and come in with the lighter color? Yes. So I'm going to mix a light color. So let's make that happen. And this is going to be with illustration. And there's a slight, you know, do I do it? Because black is already blue. You know what? If I need to do a dusting or even do some candies to make it blue, I'll do that. So let's go ahead and put some 4011 in here. If you were 4011, where would you be? Let's see. Here we go. So we'll just do 1-to-1, 4011. Not over the painting. Okay. And let's see. Tone says he would have to be starving to go with the microwave. I hear that. Yes, But I like my I went on a fully raw diet once for 6 months, and I lost like 30 pounds. That was pretty cool. So it was fully raw fruits, vegetables, nuts, that kind of thing. Alright, so we had this light color here. So we're going to dump this out. See, a lot of dumping. A lot of dumping. And so we're off and say, see, I bet there was some smell. I did heat press Yupo one time, and it looked like a noodle at a Chinese restaurant. It was unbelievable. It was a sight to see. I'm going to run some water through this. It's okay to have a little bit of that fleshy color in there, but let's not go overboard. So we're going to hit the light of her hair. And here goes nothing. I normally would put some blue in there, but I'm figuring I could always do a glaze over it. Alright, here goes. Whoop. If you do get a little bit of, as you saw there, a little speckle of paint, just wipe it with your finger right away. Don't let it sit there and become a thing. So this is working out. It's a little wet, so I'm going to make sure that I don't oversaturate. When I say it's a little wet, this means more medium than pigment, and that's when it's on the website. Michael, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out, my friend. Looking forward to seeing your live stream on Saturday. So thank you so much for hanging, my friend. Hanging with us. I appreciate you. It's great to hang out. So everyone's saying good night to Mike, so that's great. And so you see how that's working out? So I'm creating that light. So when we come to the dark, we don't have to, fight against the dark, right? We already have our established light value. See how it's a little wet? We have some of these light values in here. I'm just going to establish some of them. It's a lot harder to go dark than it is, a lot harder to go light than go dark. So establish your lights the most. So we're almost in the 11 o'clock hour, so it's been cool so far. I'm just going to put my mask on. I'm feeling a little bit, I don't know, breathing issue. Be right back. So I don't have the ventilation I should have. So I'm in a basement. So let me put my mask on. So you might hear a little bit different, but not too much. And we'll continue with this white, gray, blue color here. But if it has a lot of medium, whether it's oil paint, watercolor, acrylic, it's going to act differently. And that's when we say a paint is wet, when it has more medium. Because all paint is wet. I'm going to show you something cool after this. Okay, so there we are. So that looks pretty good. Let's lift this up and see what we have, and then we can go from there, right? So what I like to do is just take the magnets and put them up top, so we have like a, you know, like a little flip effect here. And we'll see how she's looking. And remember, this is the first color today. So you can see that, you know, it's not bad. It's a good start, right? You know, what do you want from a start? You do the best you can. Everything's light. And we're just building up super slow, you know, which is really important. Okay, so now we're going to come in with that darker color. And the darks of the hair is really going to help us kind of get a feel of where we have to go with her face, right? Because we don't know the values. Everything is kind of all over the place right now. You put these right on the edge. So I'm not going to go as dark as I am seeing the hair. I'm going to go darker, but not as dark. Remember, values 1 and 2, the darkest colors, and 7 and 8, the lightest colors, or vice versa, depending on what your scale is I'm not using them right now. I'm compressing the values, meaning you have a value scale like this, I'm compressing it. And that forces me to work harder to make things round and not get too dark. And what happens is when you go too dark and too light, things get flat. Remember that. It's kind of opposite, you know. You would think if you have more of a value range, it would look more round, but it doesn't. It's the opposite. Very weird. Okay. Now, her hair is like this nice burnt umber. I'm going to take a page out of our friend Steve Leahy, and so we're looking at burnt umber. Do I have burnt umber? I know I do, right? I should. We have black magenta. Love black magenta. So here are some opaques. Wicked opaque raw umber. Let's see what we got here. What we have here. Purple. Burnt umber, here we go. Yes. Alright. So we have this burnt umber, and I'm going to mix this. This is an opaque, so we want an opaque. So before I do that, I'm just going to use Little Boy's Room. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to hit the I'll be right back button. And thanks for your patience, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be back, I promise. Okay, I am back, and this time it's personal. Thank you so much, guys and girls, for hanging out. I appreciate that. And so we're going to go in to the dark, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use burnt umber. And I never used the Wicked Burnt Umber Opaque, though. Let's see how that goes. Has anyone used the Wicked Opaque colors yet? I know Mr. Steve uses their Pyro Red, right? Am I not mistaken? I'm going to get another cup. And what I want to do is I'm going to add some little bit of black to this. I'm going to coat the bottom. And then I'm going to get some Wicked Black. And let's see. Oh yeah, the Pyro Red. I don't think anyone uses the Pyro Red like you, Mr. Leahy, which is just amazing to see. I think looking at your live streams really gave me a real appreciation for red. And I use that in my oil paintings a lot. So that's great, you know, that you affect artists like that. And so I'm looking for Wicked Black. Let me go get that. It's over here. Detail Smoke, and here we go. So what I'm going to use is this Wicked Opaque Jet Black. Let me shake this up really well. Oh, this is the one you're talking about, right? The Jet Black, Mr. Tone? We're just going to put a couple of drops because I know this is going to dominate the scene here. And now we're going to do a 2-to-1 40-11. It's funny, I dilute paint much more in oils than I do in airbrush. I think it's because I have a .30 nozzle and I don't really have much clogging. This is still on the brown side. Oh, there it goes. Look how that turned. See that? It just took a couple of more revolutions and it turned. So in oil paint they have what is called a fat over lean. So I am going to not use the 40-50 here, but I'm going to use it in subsequent layers. And I haven't had it hurt me yet, you know. And Tone says sometimes he likes to reduce it. Kind of looks like pencil work. Oh man, I got to try that. That's exciting. So thank you for sharing that. Okay. See, it's white. We got to get rid of that. So we're coming over here. Because we don't want our hair to be gray. She doesn't want her hair to be gray. The angel does not want gray hair. Spray some 40-11 through here. Airbrush is a lot of fun. It's just super fast moving, right? Super fast pace. Oils is, you know, kind of relaxed. You're chilling, you know, you're blending. But in airbrush, no, it's not that easy. We're going to clean out this cap. Because that will come back to haunt us. Light is right in the beginning. Okay, so I'm happy with this. Breaking the rules, not doing 40-50 in the early going. Okay, here goes. Ooh, we need magnets. Right, everybody? So let's make sure we have our magnet game down. You can put the larger magnets if you're to the left, so you're not casting a shadow. You can do that, no problem. So let's put these right here. I like these kind of quarter size ones. They're really good. I get them at, I think I got them at Home Depot. Now you're gonna have to probably look more for tip dry here. One second rule is definitely in effect. I'm about 3 inches away. But you see how I'm building up the dark? And I'm using that stencil to get the edges I need. Remember, with this paper, we don't have the erasing ability. So we have to plan things out a little bit more carefully. There is some erasing ability, but not much, because you're erasing to gray, and that doesn't help you. With the UFO paper, you're erasing to white, and that helps. I'm going to come down here to the dark. Now, you can use like the back of a paintbrush right here. Another trick, spray away from your freehand, spray away from your shield. If you're going in the opposite direction, a lot less chance you'll get underspray, right? And Tone says, sometimes I like to redo. Oh, okay, so that's still the same comment. But thank you for that, Tone. Once again, appreciate you. A little bit of tip dry. You'll find a little bit of tip dry when you start spraying and less is coming out. That's the tip dry starting. So you want to make sure once you feel it, you address it. This right here is kind of a solid dark here. But I don't want to go too crazy. I just want to build up my darks. Away from your shield. That will help. And, you know, we don't want to go as dark as we're going to go. We'll get there, but we're not going to go crazy. Tip dry again. Tip dry is going to happen quite a bit once you go with thicker paint. Thicker opaque paint means faster tip dry. Oh wow, so you over-reduce like 10 to 1. Very cool. That's really, and you use a 4011 with 4050, sir? Or the new 4021, I believe, is it? 4021 or 4020? What is it? Is it 4021? Like Steve, I haven't tried it yet, but looking forward to it. Okay, so let's take a look. It looks light right now, but I'm sure it's going to be dark once we peel it up, right? So let's see what we have. Peel up some of these. We're going to see just how light her flesh tones have gotten. Simultaneous contrast, they say. Okay, here goes nothing. And there we go. So we see we have a pretty good start. And if we had Yupo paper, we can probably just erase that. But we just have to think ahead a little bit more. So I'm probably not going to go much darker with the hair at this point. I think that's a good lay-in here. So now let me just take these off and let me get these paint cups out of the way, because I can just see a disaster waiting to happen. The best defense is not to be there, right, everybody? So let's take this off. Take off these magnets. So look how great the Lifeline colors are by Createx. How, you know, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. The values and the temperatures of the colors. You know, we had the blush colors for the more fleshy parts, and the olive colors for the more bony areas. But not bad. I mean, it's an introduction to color, right? Oh, loves the 4012. Okay, Tone, that's cool. And so that's where we are right now, and you can see it's a good beginning, right? So when we come back, what do? So what I want to do, since this is not paint, this is the paper, right? You know, we did the underpainting. So I'm going to actually come in with covering everything up, her wing and everything, and I'm going to paint in the background. Now this background is this kind of, and I'm going to use the Gideon color picking method to find this exact color, and I'm going to put that in, and that's just going to bring luminosity to her wing, and it's going to give a nice glow, and it's going to be a nice light against the dark of the hair, but it's still going to be darker than the wing. So it's going to be interesting. So it's a nice beginning. I'm not going too crazy with detail at this point. In oils, I probably would go into detail more, but you have to play it differently. You can't treat an oil painting exactly like an airbrush painting, meaning that in airbrush, you have to work the ensemble more. You have to establish the colors first. You can't just work on one area and kind of bleed out. I don't think that's the right way to go, because even if you're doing that, if you're working in some bright lights here, you're going to have some overspray. So you have to work more on the ensemble and kind of work the big shapes and kind of go work the large big shapes and slowly go into the smaller dark shapes, right? So you're going from light and dark to large small shapes. But in all of this, you're making sure that you're making all the forms round. So that's going to be it for today. And thank you so much for hanging out with me, everyone. I really appreciate it. I believe we had 24 people in here. I think that's like right up there with the record. So I'm really happy that more people are coming to the live streams. The new people, thank you. So this is one thing I'm going to be doing is if you want to paint along on inkflingers.com, next week I'll actually I'll have all the stencils and the line drawing so you could follow along, and also I'll have available the stencils and the line drawing for all the other live streams in the past, so I'll be putting them up, so that's going to be great. Mr. Dave, thank you so much. Have a great night. Thank you for the super chat. See you tomorrow, sir. And yes, we did. We used them for Amy Lee as well, so that's good. Thanks, Bobby. It's great to see you. So everyone, so we're gonna come in next week. We're gonna work on the background, work on the wing, and start refining things, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So everyone, thank you, Tone, for hanging out. Bobby, Brad, thank you for the super chat. And thank you, Mr. Dave, for the super chat. And Greg, Mr. Gary, thank you so much. And Brad, of course. And Michael, you guys are amazing. I really appreciate that. And let's see, did I miss anyone? I believe I got a super chat from Dwayne. Thank you so much, Dwayne. I appreciate you. Everyone, have a great night. Thanks for making my Wednesday really special. Those of you who are watching this on record, thank you so much, and I will talk to everyone later. Bye, guys.